Good evening and welcome to a new food4Rhino webinar. Thanks for being here. I think today is the record of participants, more than 200. And yeah, today it's about Raven AI. This is a new plugin for Grasshopper and Rhino. And Raven is a conversational AI built. It's built natively for Grasshopper and Rhino. It works directly with your scripts, plugins, and custom tools. And today, um, Moritz Ritschel will show us how to generate parametric geometry from simple text and image prompts, how to debug and refine your scripts with an AI that actually understands your setup, how to leverage any plugin in your environment, from Ladybug to any of your custom in-house tools, and how to apply Raven across AEC, engineering, and manufacturing workflows. Moritz is a co-founder of Raven. Um, he's a researcher at UC Berkeley, and he collaborates. I mean, he's exploring human AI collaborations in CAD with Professor Kyle Steinfeld, and he's also doing research in robotic fabrication with Professor Simon Schleicher. And again, Moritz is one of the co-founders. Today, we also have his colleagues here. Maximilian and Philippe. They will also take care about the chat during the webinar. You can feel free to post your questions on the chat, and then they can respond this live. But also during the last 15 minutes of the webinar, some of the most important questions, I will read this to Moritz, sorry, so that he can answer this live. The webinar is being recorded, so if you miss a part of it, don't worry. Tomorrow we will upload it to our YouTube channel. And yes, so Maximilian, Moritz, Philip, many thanks for being here today with us and for having participated at all of our user meetings this year. It was great to have you there. And yeah, let's see what you have to tell us, Moritz.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you for hosting us. And it's exciting to see almost 300 people joined us on this morning, evening to see what we have in store. So I will start right away by sharing my screen so we can dive right into the presentation. So hi, guys. My name is Moritz. Carlos already introduced me, so I can dive right in. Today, we're going to show you what we built with Raven. It's our AI that is natively built for Grasshopper and Rhino, and it can help you really like level up all of your workflows that you already have in this amazing CAD suite of McNeil. So the agenda for today, we have about an hour. I'm going to run you guys through a little bit of an intro and background. How do we even get here? Kind of like what's the story behind the tool and the team? And then we're going to go. Okay, I will speak louder. I have the chat also open, so if you guys want to throw me something like that, I'm excited to have this like big crowd to be chatting with today. So I'm going to show you guys the background of our tool, some core features. Then we'll dive into the demo. We have a couple demos prepared for you guys that I'm excited to show you. And then, of course, most importantly, this is going to be a Q&A as well at the end. So you guys, whatever comes up, remember to put it in a chat or ask me at the end. It's really this is about feedback and interaction, right? So it's great to have so many people live. Uh, I started, Carlos already mentioned, I used to be at UC Berkeley. I have a background, I mean, I've been using Rhino since high school, but for my master's, I was doing research there, originally on robotic fabrication, also using a lot of Grasshopper plugins. And then I went for 2 years, took a lot of computer science classes, a lot of AI classes. Obviously, it was sort of the heart of the storm, Berkeley being a university in the Silicon Valley. And I built a research that, I published it in 2024. No one really cared about it. It was kind of before the MCP era. So LLMs and CAD was kind of this weird fringe happening. And so since then, it's been really quite a while and quite a wild ride. So I graduated this summer. We already brought Raven out like 360 days ago, almost a year. And now we're here. So since the summer, me, Max, and Philip are like full time on Raven. We've built out like so many new features, things that we're really excited to show you. Team is also growing. We have new hires, new interns. So it's been a really exciting journey from sort of a research interest to where we are today. So why do we develop Raven? Um, I have many friends who are designers, architects, and like structural engineers, and I can just always, like my whole life, I've always seen this big gap between what the tools could do and like the amount of training that it takes to learn those tools leads to the fact that like almost no one can actually use them, right? So you have computational tools that could like take up so much of your workload, automate so many things, but they're really hard to learn and they're really not flexible. Whereas while you're working, especially as a designer, for example, you're always like thinking very flexibly. You kind of have like to iterate really quickly, and the computation tools have to ask you to be very precise. So I thought an LLM would be a really good sort of mediator between the two. Um, we built a CAD Copilot and originally, this was one Grasshopper component that could take sketch and text inputs, could take sketch, text, and inputs together and create a Grasshopper definition from that, and like serve it right back into your Grasshopper. That was like the really very first version of Raven. Nowadays, Raven is iterative, it's interactive, it can proactively search through your environment, see what plugins you have installed, what components you have, and you can really like go back and forth with Raven. So a core idea is that you have Raven not just give you like a one shot kind of result, but really it's part of your process and natively within your media that you're already using. So the core believes in like how we've designed this tool. That's really important to me because I'm kind of like, I'm the person also who would be using it if I wasn't building it. It's not about creating images. It's not about creating meshes. It's about like entering your workflow and where you already are. So you're already using Grasshopper. Maybe you're not using Grasshopper yet, but you have a couple of things that you want to like try, or you want to try out plugins, and then taking that existing workflow, meeting you right there and making editable geometry, making editable scripts in like native Grasshopper, right? So it's not like, oh, here's your image. Now go back to the text and tweak it to get a different image. It's really like tell Raven the step one of what you're trying to do. Go back and forth, go back into the Grasshopper file, change your Grasshopper file, go back into Raven, ask Raven to add to it, to remove from it. So it's really a shared kind of experience between you and the AI and Grasshopper being like this interface. And we have a really long history in CAD, in parametric design, in computational design, in the whole discipline of really good tools being built, really good software like McNeil, right? They've been churning out like amazing software for 30 years. And so we want to build on top of that and allow you to use your existing skills, your existing knowledge, your existing scripts, and like build on top of it instead of like, making you move to a completely different CAD suite or like uh, ignoring this entire history. So, like I already said, Grasshopper is a great shared interface layer. You can exactly see what the AI created, right? It's not a black box. It's like, oh, this is the algorithm that is creating my geometry. This is the algorithm that is going to do my sunlight analysis. It's an algorithm from Ladybug or from Rhino components. So I can trust it. It's not like something that was made up on the spot. It's just the connections of it that are kind of new, right? So AI is only sort of in the margins between. So that was the intro and background. Uh, can't wait to tell you guys about the features that we've built out. And I would say, we'll dive right in. I can see the chat is live and well. Uh, Good to see everyone joining from all around the world. We're in Switzerland, both me, Max, and Philip, but we spend a lot of time in the US as well. So wherever you are, reach out to us, and maybe we'll come by for another user meeting with Carlos. Okay, Raven is your co-pilot in Grasshopper. It can generate scripts, interact with plugins, clean up your scripts and organize them, teach parametric design, and be like kind of an intelligence layer that brings in new information, right? It can go and look something up for you. It can check what components are there and how you can use them, things like that. And we're going to walk through each of these with an example um, that will show you how you can use Raven in your workflows and how these capabilities, what they look like when you're using Raven. So generating geometry means we're making Grasshopper scripts that describe geometry, right? So we're not outputting a NURBS object, we're outputting a algorithm that makes geometry. And here's what that might look like. This is just the screen cap. It's a little bit sped up because obviously LLMs always take a little bit of time as they iterate. And here you can see, for example, an example from footwear. Let's create a Voronoi web from your shoe midsole. You can see on the right, the Grasshopper script was created. Yeah, and now we're already in the next demo. Here you can see this is for an example for architecture. From a short prompt, generate the balustrade, and then you get a Grasshopper script back. Of course, here are references. You're referencing a curve, and now you're getting twisted balustrades. And of course, it's all parametric. You can go around, change it all the time. You can ask Raven to give you a nice preview. So it'll create, like custom materials to give you a nice preview. You can see the balusters have a twist in them. So that is a couple examples, pretty straightforward from different industries, how you can use it to create geometry. Now, we always say and emphasize whatever you already have, you can use. So we're really proud to support almost all the plugins that have ever been made for Grasshopper, everything that works at the node level. So if the plugin is something that you install and you get a couple of nodes, Raven can use it, which applies to 99% of the plugins out there. It just means it's not using plugins that like change the UI of Grasshopper or something like that, but whatever is a node can be added into your algorithm by Raven, even if it's not a public plugin. So here you can see a quick Ladybug example. Raven creates a PV analysis, which is like photovoltaic. This is also from sustainability and architecture. Um, the way that we do this is Raven works within your current system, right? So it checks what nodes you have available, uses them when it comes up with a new definition or a new script, and then that the description of the script is sent back to your system, and that's where the algorithm is assembled. So even if this is a node that only you have or a plugin that's internal to your firm, Raven can use them in its logic. It can interact with them. It can even like make new scripts from scratch using those components. So that's something we're really proud of because we love this community, and I think the promise of McNeil and Grasshopper is exactly that. People create niche plugins for their industries, and McNeil creates a platform. And so with Raven, you can use that whole platform no matter where you come from. Another feature that we're building out, and it's already out there to the degree that you will see now, is cleaning up your scripts, right? So when you collaborate with others, but even just when you build a Grasshopper script and then have to go back to it a couple days later or weeks, it gets really messy. So Raven has intelligence to know what components belong together, right? So here's a part of the building where we're setting up the outline. Here's where we're doing the extrusions. Here's where we're doing the side struts. Knowing this allows Raven to make groupings. It knows exactly which nodes belong together. It can assign them to groups, name the groups, organize it, create a layout that goes like group by group, has like the logical flow consistency. And we're also, of course, improving this. It's an ongoing process. But we believe that Raven is very, very helpful already in getting sort of organized and wrapping your head around script. Um, Script understanding plugs right into this same concept. If you get a script, either you find it online, you get it from a coworker, or you just worked on it a long time ago, you can open up Raven, and we just released yesterday the ask mode, and it actually disables Raven's editing capabilities. So you know that Raven is not editing your script at all, but Raven can see everything that's going on in the script. So you can ask it questions like, hey, Raven, what is this script doing? Right? Put it in the ask mode, and Raven will look through your script and create a little description for you, and you can ask questions about it. This is great if you're learning Grasshopper in general, but even just getting a message script from one of your coworkers and just like trying to get an overview, this is what Raven can do, right? And if you want to plan out something new, but you don't want Raven to make any edits yet, the ask mode is also perfect with that. So basically, you can have a conversation with your Grasshopper script at any time. Now, this feature called context profiles is a little bit more complex, but I do want to talk to you guys about it. It's basically the idea that instead of having a general Raven that needs to know everything, you can now make a custom Raven. So inside of the Raven UI, and I'm just going to show you guys this, there's a settings button and you can open profiles. This is also something that we only just launched this week. And we're thinking of it as the ability to build Raven with specific knowledge inside. So imagine making a Raven that knows exactly how environmental analysis works in your country or your firm and with your tools, right? So it can use the tools that you have in your Grasshopper. It can even draw from the scripts that you make available to it. So if you have past scripts that you want to reuse, you can make them available to Raven by uploading them. And then you can have very special instructions that match your version of environmental analysis, and then add that as something called a profile. And then you can, with one click, like reload all of that context when you're doing another environmental analysis. Of course, environmental analysis is just one example here that is especially complex because it draws from scripts, it uses plugins like Ladybug, and it's specific to different countries and jurisdictions. But you can also imagine a profile being something that your firm does internally. You might have a certain way of going about your facade parameterization, or you might be from footwear where you have very specific manufacturability constraints. So these kinds of like specific information that you need Raven to know when you're using it, or even just the way that your firm works, and Raven should be aware of it. You can create a profile for that. And the biggest unlock that we believe profiles bring you is to have the expert in your firm that you already have be able to spread and scale their expertise to more people. So you can imagine if you're an architecture firm, you have specialists for something like structural analysis, and they always use Grasshopper for this. And when they send out a script to someone else on the team, like they don't know what's going on, or they might not follow the firm standards. You can create a version of Raven that is aware of that and sort of guides them back on track, or has all of the internal knowledge and scripts that you've built for this that it can draw from. So that's what we call context profiles. And here in the video, you'll see the editor, which you will get to if you click the edit button in the settings. It really just allows you to upload scripts, add them, to the profile, put in the text that you want Raven to know, and then Raven can pull in those scripts and has all of this text within context whenever you activate that profile. And then in this case, Raven is making, for example, an office building. So if you're a developer who's always building sort of like, which is very common, like a standardized, has a standardized grid size, standardized ceilings, things like that. Raven can draw those geometries in, and you don't need to have like one file, right? So that's context profiles. Of course, we're not stopping here. This is just where we are right now. And we're always building new stuff and kind of like have an update almost every week. So the next few things, just as a little outlook for you guys before we jump into the demo, um, will be enhancing the layout agent, which right now a lot of firms have. If you're working in teams, it's very useful to have like a standardized way of doing Grasshopper. That might be group colors, that might be how you separate different sections of the logic, and that might be how you reuse them. So we want you to be able to set up a layout that is like your standard layout and have that used by Raven all the time. Then another like most requested feature, and this is really important that you guys tell us what you need, because we are prioritizing what we hear back from our users, is of course C# and Python components. Now I know that C# and Python components are being used with AI already, right? You can go to ChatGPT and ask it to write your Python code. I think it's much more compelling to have Grasshopper native nodes and especially plugins in your Grasshopper as well. But combining the like vanilla Grasshopper tools together with the C# and Python components is probably the biggest unlock. So we're already internally working to really like make these things play well together. So you can have parts of your script just in the native Grasshopper that we have right now, and then whenever you need to, or it might be more efficient, you have small Python components that do some of the heavy lifting. Of course, we have a lot of interest also from teams. Raven is a great way to collaborate. It helps you to sort of bring the ideas that were there when the script was created off to the consumer of the script. So someone who's making a script firm-wide can instruct Raven on like what the script's purpose is and so on, and Raven will remember it when the next person looks at it. So we have a lot of sharing, internal sharing stuff that's coming up, kind of like we have a common script library in our team that Raven can draw from, these kinds of ideas. So the other things you can see on the screen: planning and to-do lists, Grasshopper Canvas interactions. There are just a couple of things that we're working on, but it's really about what you tell us, we will prioritize. Great. Then we're also moving through Grasshopper quite rapidly, right? It's a great place to be. We think that eventually you'll be able to interact with Raven also beyond Grasshopper, maybe have Grasshopper running in the background. These are kind of the ideas that we're floating around with. And always happy to chat with you guys. All right. So don't want to obviously spend too much time just talking on this, but I want you guys to know you can try it for free. You can install Raven in the package manager or on our website, raven.build, and just try it. That's how easy it is. Then, of course, if you don't want to hit any limits and you just want to keep going, we have the pro version that allows you to go way further. And if you need to talk to your boss, you got a button for that too. Of course, Teams, enterprise, data protection, single sign-on, all of these things. Of course, we have a solution for that too. You'll just reach out and you'll hear back from me or one of my co-founders. For this webinar, actually, because we were so excited about 300 people joining live, or the 1,000 like signups for it, we've created a special discount that you guys can use. It's only going to be valid for the next 24 hours. It's kind of also us giving back to McNeil and the community. So if you use this discount, you get 50% off for the first 1 or 2 months. You can only use it in the next 24 hours. But do use it. If you wanted to try Raven, now is the best time to do so. We have a like secret link. If you go to raven.build/webinar, you can find a page where not only can you find like all the contact buttons that you might need if you're from academia, if you're a distributor, if you're just want to like try Raven with a discount, you'll find it there. So if you already have Raven, of course, you can still use this discount because you joined the webinar. And by the time this is on YouTube, it's not going to be valid anymore. All right. So now to the good part, right? I'm going to show you guys two demos, and I'm just going to dive right in. So first off, uh, I will show you guys here. We have a file, has a building in it. Um, we're very proud to support plugins in Grasshopper. I think that's also what most people use Grasshopper with. So I'm going to show you guys. I will open a script that I got from a coworker, and it will load just for a moment. And you can see the script adds like some window shading on this building. Now down here, there's an empty chart, but I don't really know what's going on. So I'm just going to pop up Raven in the ask mode, right? And I will say, hey, Raven, I got this script from my coworker. What does it do? Can you give me a quick summary? So you see Raven is in the ask mode, so I know it's not going to be changing anything. I really just want to understand what the script does. It says window shading. I don't really know how that works. I'm not a Ladybug expert myself. So I'm just going to ask Raven. Raven will have a look around the script and then come back and give me a quick summary. And then from there, of course, this is just a start. The idea is also here, Raven can get an overview itself, understand it better, and then we can start editing it or something like that. So I'm just going to pop in the chat and see if there are any. I can see Max is already asking, replying to many of the questions. Um, we do have an academic version. It does run on Mac. It also runs on Rhino 7. We even made it run with the .NET framework, which also only was just released recently and makes it work with older plugins as well. This is actually something that we developed to make it work with Tekla structures, which is a popular structure engineering plugin. You don't always have to write "Hey Raven." Okay, I'm just gonna rerun it. I obviously should have returned already, but okay, now you can see Raven is doing something. So here I get feedback like delving into details. So there's some thoughts, like Raven's telling me what it's doing. Then here there's a zoomed in, um, which means it's looking at the nodes, right? That's also something recent that we added. Raven can like dynamically go in and out into your script, look at details and so on. I think there's a lot of controversy around how nice you have to be to Raven. If we're less nice, maybe we'll do its job quicker. I can see someone's drawing in my on my Zoom screen. So here we go. Uh, it did a lot of thinking. I guess it's trying to dive really deep into the script. There's a bunch of stuff going on, of course. Here, so whenever Raven calls a tool, oh, we got the wrong language. Sorry, I was experimenting with languages earlier. I'm just going to ask it to translate. So Raven speaks different languages. I think now we're currently set to Czech or Polish. Um, but now, see, I ask it to translate to English. So here we go. This script is designed for solar radiation analysis, right? I already kind of knew that from the title, but here we go, and it gives me an overview. There's a data weather import, there's parametric shading, so this shading appears to be parametric, and there's a radiation simulation. Um, now, the script, as you can see, uh, it's not really returning anything. The diagram down here is empty. So I'm going to ask Raven, how would I run it? And then it should tell me what I need to do. Or actually, I see it right here. Um, you can see right here, there's a start simulation button. So maybe we'll wait for Raven to return, but I can also just run the simulation. So Raven's going to look around for this button, and then here it says trigger the analysis by clicking the start simulation button. Perfect. I'm going to run this, which usually takes a second. It's now running an analysis over the entire year for the specific location in Basel, here in Switzerland, to check how much sunlight exposure these windows get. And then if we look into the 3D model, the script does a nice preview, right? So this is a really popular plugin that a lot of people use in environmental analysis. And now I'm going to ask Raven. Um, I actually want to see the parametric part of it, right? So uh, I'm going to allow Raven to edit the script. And then I'm going to say, what would it look like if the louver were set to 0.2 meters? So what we're doing here is we have shading, right? And it's shading the windows, which then shows us here that the energy intensity in those windows, so how much sunlight they get over the year, the max is at around 55. And now Raven is editing the script, and the simulation will rerun, and we will see what it looks like when the louver is only 0.2. So instead of having to go in and look through the whole script to find that, you can see the louver, Raven did it, he went in, changed the louver to 0.2, which is 20 centimeters. It's basically nothing. And you can see now the peak energy is almost at 70 kilowatts. So I don't need to be the expert that goes in and like understands all parts of the script. I can just ask questions about it, and then Raven can even make small edits on it, um, like this. Of course, if I don't want Raven to make edits and just sort of like help me understand and walk through, I'll put it back to ask mode, and I can go in and like talk about the script as long as I want, right? Raven can zoom in to specific parts of the script. It can use web search if you have more specific questions about Ladybug. And this really allows you to just like talk to the script for as long as you want until you're comfortable and that you understand what's going on, and you can make your own edits or ask Raven to edit things. Raven came back. I've set the louver length to 0.2 meters, and the update already ran. Now I will open, actually, I will close this Grasshopper file and open a new one. We're already in the wrong demo, so it's called PV analysis setup. And then in this file, I have already referenced some geometry, right? It's if I show it to you guys here, it's really just the roof where I want to do my PV analysis, which is photovoltaic. So if I put solar panels on my roof, how much energy do I get? Now, this is not something that Raven can do from scratch because it's actually quite complex. But because we have a context profile for Ladybug that I was telling you guys about earlier, I can, well, I can try to load the context profile. Context profile means that if my firm has a PV setup and is doing this regularly, I can have a profile here, maybe a PV agent, maybe a general environmental analysis agent, and I can load it, and then that will, let Raven draw in the more complex scripts that maybe it can't do in a one shot from scratch, but an expert setup and make sure that they're valid. Right now, we're not getting those scripts, so I'm just going to move on actually. This was the demo to show you guys how Raven can use plugins and how you can use the ask mode if you get a complex script. Just ask around before you make any edits so that you're sure you know what's going on. So let me close this, also close this, and then I'm going to open a different Rhino file to show you guys the next demo. So of course, Rhino is used across many, many industries. So we try to like switch it up, not just give you guys architecture and environmental demos, do something fun. So here we go. We have a sleek car design and it's missing a rim. So we're going to use Raven to generate some fun geometry to get a rim on this car. Now, just to set things up, I've already given Raven a couple points here. So this is just a plane that is right at the center of the rim where we want to start designing. So of course, in Grasshopper, you always want to like have some hooks in your actual model. So I'm going to be using the center of the rim. And then I have my radii set. So we have a central hub as one of the curves. Then we have a ring that's right in the center, which means like halfway between the hub and the outer lip of my rim. So let me open up Raven. And now you can see I just have the standard Raven set up. And then I'm going to say, and I'm not going to say, hey, Raven this time. Instead, I'll say, set it to ask mode and say, I want to design a cool rim. So now imagine I'm not that familiar with Grasshopper yet, and I'm trying to learn. I don't want Raven to just do stuff for me. I want to understand it myself. So I'm going to say, can you help me subdivide these circles into 5 parts each, then use those curves, those curve segments and loft them into struts. Outer circle to mid to hub, right? So what I just said here is please take these circles that you can already see, right? Raven can see whatever's on my canvas. And I want to divide each circle into 1/5 and then loft through those circles into the center. So we get the basic struts, right? This is going to create like a disk, but then we can start editing those struts and make something cool. So Raven's going to do a fully parametric way of doing this. It's actually not going to do anything. It's going to tell me how to do it because it's in ask mode right now, right? And I said, I want to learn how to do it myself. Okay, my team's telling me I need to restart this. I think there's probably a lot of people from the webinar hopping on and like trying to follow along or something. Um, and our servers were maybe not prepared. Ah, I can see some cool ideas. Doing a wind tunnel around the car with Butterfly. I don't even know Butterfly. That sounds cool. Or can Raven help us learn and understand specific workflows, tools, or plugins? Yes, exactly. Um, that's what I'm hoping to show you guys. So you see Raven starting to run. It's doing some, it's looking at my script, making sure it understands exactly what the circles are doing, what circles to use, and how to divide them. Um, What about planar and non-planar G-code generation? Well, I actually cannot do proper G-code generation with native Grasshopper components. It's usually something that I would use C# or Python for, and we actually don't have that yet. So see now actually that the backend's back. Um, I can see my profiles, which means I could have also used the Ladybug profile to do my PV analysis. Um, So this is a new version that we launched yesterday, which I'm proud to show you guys today. And I guess that's why it's using a little bit of, it's giving us a little bit of a hiccup. Can Raven be used to do FEA analysis of contact modeling of a fabric mesh and replicate a ball burst test with it? Um, so fabric simulations in Grasshopper, I know I can use Kangaroo. Actually, I have really cool Kangaroo examples. Um, I'm going to put out a video maybe next week, so look out for that. But otherwise, whatever you have a plugin for. So I don't know what your domain is, but if you already know, how, like if you're already using Grasshopper in this way, you can use Raven in this way. If you're not using Grasshopper in this way yet, you might have to write your own C# or Python, maybe even create your own plugin, and then it can run it, right? So Raven uses the existing tech stack and just like helps you use it and make it faster. If you cannot do this with the existing tech stack, Raven will not be able to do it either. Okay, third time's the charm. Sorry about that, guys. You can see Raven has here analyzed circles and flow. Um, and then giving now, because I set it to ask mode, it's helping me to do this myself, right? So it's telling me divide the circles, shatter the circles into segments, and it's giving me exactly the components that I would use, like divide curve, and then group and loft. We need to match the first segment of the hub with the first segment of the mid and outer circles. So if you imagine we have these circles here divided, we need to make sure that we have the first segment lofting to the first segment, lofting to the first segment. So it actually has a pretty solid way to doing that here. Shatter, merge, uh, component, and graft. Okay, now I'm going to ask Raven to implement this for me, but I will say, uh, cool, add this, but use and twine and flip matrix. Because maybe I don't like the exact plan that Raven has, and so I'm going to tell him actually change this around and do it differently. A lot of questions around our servers. I also have some questions. So some questions around how plugin integrations work. I want to show you guys if you have plugins installed in Rhino, they show up here in your tabs, right? And you're already familiar with that. Now, whatever you have installed in your system, Oh, well, load failed. Okay. If you open up your settings, Raven shows them right here, right? So uh, these are the installed plugins that Raven recognizes and will have available to use. Of course, if you don't want Raven to use a plugin, right, you can just click on it and that like deactivates it. So in the standard mode, Raven can use the plugins that you have on your system, and in if you don't want that, then you just deactivate them. Can Raven help to install and debug the plugin process? Okay, actually, I'm going to rerun this. I'm sorry. I guess our new version is not ready for 300 people to try it. Okay. I want to design a cool rim. Please help me. I guess it would have been better to try a local version, so I'm not competing with everyone else on our servers, um, but it should be fine. It's also sometimes the LLM APIs get overwhelmed and throttle you when everybody's from our server is reaching out to them. Divide, shatter, entwine, loft. All right, Raven's making a plan. So, and now it's giving me a quick tip. You can see merge, outer lib, great. And we say, great, implement it with twine and flip matrix. So now Raven's moving, looking around the script. There we go. Now Raven's starting to do edits here. So what's happening in here now is we're lofting through all of these struts. So I'm just going to move us forward quickly by copy and pasting my prompts now, just so we can like move forward and be quick. So I'm going to ask it to make the cross section of the center curve, which is the middle one, shorter, which should start to make this look like proper struts. I'm really sorry about the server overloads, guys. So it's evaluating shorter arcs, looking through the components that I have. Raven always make sure to check what you have installed in your system so you can use the best components possible for the task. Now it's looking into the nodes that we already have so we can make a proper connection. There we go. So what we're doing here is we're lofting from this arc to this arc to this arc, creating a flower-like shape. Of course, it's all parametric. So if I just want to increase the strut count a little bit, we can do it. Now I'm going to ask Raven to rotate the center cross-section curve by like say 20 degrees, which means that taking this little section and rotating it within its aligned axes, right? Which kind of makes the whole strut twist open a little bit and then go back down. The idea is that you know this look of a rim that's kind of like twisting blade. So sometimes when Raven makes an edit, it might look like it's going backwards, but actually it just needs to iterate a little bit to figure it out. And then we can still get some good struts in. So actually, I'm cutting a little bit into the Q&A time. So why don't we start doing Q&A as we wait for the results? So now you can see the twist is in. I'm going to add the last little step of this demo, add thickness to the struts by direction inwards. So that's global negative X, which just means I want some thickness so we can have a nicer look at these struts. And then while Raven works on that, Carlos, why don't we kick off the Q&A?
Perfect. Fantastic. Excellent presentation. The chat is on fire. I mean, I've never seen so many questions, but luckily Maximilian and Philippe are answering most of them. And well, I need to also to apologize, my apologies, because I thought I had more capacity for this webinar, and it was only for the maximum capacity was for 300 participants. So some uh, uh, were not able to join it, but anyway, tomorrow, as it's being recorded, tomorrow I will send the link with the recorded version to all the people that register to the webinar. Okay. So
Crazy.
now to the chat, to the QA. I don't know where to start because um, I don't know if it's best that Maximilian and Philip
Hmm.
do a selection of the most interesting questions and answers if they want to jump in.
That's a good idea.
I mean, people ask if there is an
Yeah.
educational version. Yes, you mentioned
Yes. Okay.
already.
Good.
It's a
There
version
is.
for there is a version for the Mac. Yes,
Exactly.
there is a 50% discount on your website.
Exactly.
They ask you about the AI algorithms you are using, if you are working with OpenAI or DeepSeek, I don't know.
Uh-huh. So I can take some of this. So we are using frontier APIs. So some of the big labs out there, we use a mix of them. We also try around a lot because they're developing really quickly. But also we have a lot of our internal stuff that runs on our server and then overheats. So it's
Mm,
really a mixture.
I mean,
Yeah.
also,
And
people, yes, this,
sorry, I'm just going to mention, I'm sure you guys noticed, we got our rims done, right? We got our thickness to it. It's all parametric, and that was the demo that Raven refused for a little bit.
oh,
Anyway.
very cool. And well, we've seen that there is people here in architecture, in automotive, in jewelry. They are all asking if Raven understands how a jeweler talks, for example. No?
How if Raven understands what? Sorry.
How a jeweler talks. I mean, if Raven
Ah, yeah, that's a good
understands
question. Okay, so
stones, I don't know, all
yeah,
the tools they use.
yeah. So basically, yes, it understands a little bit of it, of all the different industries, right? It's an LLM, it has an understanding, and the tools that you use, like the jewelry plugins you have, bring a lot of that knowledge in your Grasshopper system that Raven can use. But also, we hope that we can start this community effort to build profiles for different industries. So
Mm,
if you're a jeweler and you and the rest of the Rhino community get together, you can build a profile using the plugins of the jeweler community, the way that you think about stones and
mm,
rings and so on, and the metals, and put all of that in a profile, make it collaborative. Profiles can be shared, right? You can share them with other people. Then you can have a jewelry version of Raven that understands you even better.
mhm. Cool.
That's how we think.
Also, people ask how does it work with tokens? I mean, how do they know? I mean, depending on the, I guess, on the calculations and on the time.
So it's
Uh,
really the amount of information that Raven has to process results in the tokens. Um, we basically right now there's just a free version where you get a little bit of tokens, and then there's a pro version where you have almost unlimited tokens, and nobody ever reaches the limit. So you kind of can think of it as like the free version and just the full version, where
okay,
you don't have to worry about tokens
okay. So you can forget if you pay the pro version, you can forget about
for now. Yeah,
for now.
if everybody keeps grilling our servers like this, you know.
And also how it learns. If I guess there is a privacy
Yeah, yeah.
toggle, no? If you want Raven to learn from your scripts,
Mhm.
and
Um,
later if it's available only for you or for the community.
So the privacy is obviously really important, especially in the business and enterprise version, right? It's really, really important. You can get all the way to like your own version of the API and your like data silo, like on the basically on the privacy scale, you can go all the way.
Mhm.
Of course, it's like an effort for us, right? You have to set up data silos and so on. So that's something that we can offer if you approach it as a team, as an enterprise, something like this. Um, if you use Raven, it doesn't actually train an AI model, right? So the AI models are not trained when you use Raven, but
Mhm.
the way that you use it, the things that work and don't work, like errors that happen, things like this, um, we my dark mode just activated.
Mhm.
uh, that kind of interaction data is really important for us to know what works and what doesn't work. And so if you're not on the enterprise tier, we use the interaction data just to like make Raven better like this. For example, if Raven always misunderstands how a component works, and it always thinks that the rectangle component starts from the center, we want Raven to understand that it doesn't start from the center. And to know what works and what doesn't work, we need to use this interaction data. But there's no AIs that are trained on that.
Okay, understood. And one more interesting question, bit related. If we can we train Raven locally?
Um,
Hmm.
if you have an enterprise use case for us, we can set it up. But
Okay.
we current like you know we have a very talented but not infinitely large team, so we need to prioritize. And whatever we hear from you guys, of course, in the Discord, which is like our community, but then
Mhm.
also you reach out to us and you talk to us, you know, on like a business level, then what you tell us you need, we can make it happen. Of course, we need to be sort of mindful with our resources as well.
Cool. As it's impossible to go through all the questions,
Yeah, they keep coming
one
in.
thing I will
Doesn't
do
work with
is I
Grasshopper
will
2.
send you the
It
list
doesn't work with Grasshopper 2
of
yet,
these
but
questions,
yeah,
and I guess it will help to improve your FAQ also from all the questions that
that's a
people
very
are.
good point. Yeah.
And maybe you can do it with AI as well, no?
So I just want to emphasize, we read all the emails that you send, and if you have a question, just like reach out to us. You know, right? I'm Moritz Richter. We have Max and Philip. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us
Mhm.
on Discord. You can find our emails. It's just moritz@raven.build, and just like text me. We love talking to you guys. It's crazy. Like the webinar is really blowing up.
Yeah. Also, people ask if it works with Caramba 3D. Yes, you said it already that it works with most plugins. It's automatically, or you need to do something with those plugins?
No. So, for example, somebody earlier asked about Galapagos. And Galapagos, right, has this unique feature where you backpropagate. So instead
Mhm.
of just doing a data flow from left to right, it has a different kind of connection with the fitness, right?
Mhm.
So these things we actually have not implemented Galapagos because it needs like a special thing for us to do. But something like Kangaroo or Ladybug and so on that works on a node level that just has inputs and outputs, it works with those. But of course, we like continuously integrate more and more things. So if Galapagos is like a priority by the community, we will implement Galapagos, but it requires us to add additional code. All the other plugins, like normal jewelry plugins that have like components that just connect, all of those already work. And also, when we say it works with plugins, we mean that the Raven can add those components and connect them. It doesn't necessarily mean that Raven already has all the knowledge it needs
Mhm.
to like do it well, which is why now you can make your own profile, right? Which is where you can sort of put knowledge and snippets that then let Raven understand it better. So, for example, I'm currently working on a kangaroo profile. That means I have to like wrap my head around kangaroo, play around with it, really understand the concepts, and sort of translate those concepts into the profile instructions. And then I'll make that public, and everybody will be able to use the kangaroo agent.
Yes. People are asking also for if you support very specific plugins or very specific market segments,
Mhm,
like Jack Design,
mhm.
or yeah, if it works with this plugin that can create loops,
So our
which was
favorite, yeah, loops are interesting. So loops is another one, like Hookmake, or I don't know what they are called nowadays. Loops are something we need to implement. right?
Mhm.
Because it's not it doesn't match the normal directed data flow of Grasshopper, but it's something we're happy to implement because it doesn't fundamentally not work with Raven. It's just like we have to
Mhm.
spend extra time on it. So we can do those things if they are like requested very often and if they make sense, if we think they make sense for the community. Now, about the yacht design, one of the first people that ever reached out to us came from yacht design, was a really big fan of Raven, doing a lot of upholstery and things like this. So we're super, super proud to say that we can work across like this broad landscape of Rhino users, even though our expertise is in architecture and robotics and like industrial design,
Mhm.
we can talk to all these other people. So if you have a specific need, just reach out
Perfect. And they can also contact you in German.
in German.
Self-just
In,
English.
let me think. We have Danish on the team. We can speak
Mhm.
French. We can
Okay.
speak whatever. And Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And at the beginning of the webinar, you also mentioned that you can set up the language for the
correct.
prompts, no?
So actually, I'm gonna take you up on this. This is the Raven interface with the settings icon up here. So if you click the settings, there's something called custom instructions. If you don't want Raven to speak English to you, or if you have like any other thing, like maybe always give me the facts and don't be nice to me, or like don't make me say hi Raven, or just like speak German, put it in the
Mhm.
custom instructions, and Raven will remember it every time you use it. So it's a really easy, quick way to do like a customization.
Because by default, I didn't understand that at first. By default, you always have to say hi, Raven.
No, 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 that
No,
was
I
great.
know that
That's
was
something that
a
people
joke.
have
Okay, yeah.
asking. Yeah. So Raven doesn't support voice recognition. A lot of people
No.
are asking us about this because the How to Rhino webinar that we did in December, um, they were using in the video made it look like Raven could do voice to text
Mm,
because they were reading the thing as it was typed. But we don't do this. I can recommend you plugins for your
to
Mac or Windows that do it. Even like the native OS, I think, does it sometimes.
mm,
But just figure out how to do text, voice to text on your own computer, and then use Raven with this, and it will work.
cool. Well, I think I don't know if Philippe and Maximilian,
I'm
I
gonna open
mean,
up.
if there is any questions that
We're
they
we're
answer
uh,
that think
we're
are
continuously
important.
working on the chat.
I know, I
I
see
think,
it, I see
yeah.
it. It's
So
But yeah.
just to like put it out there, I'm going to tell you guys again, if you go to raven.build/webinar, that's where you can get
mm,
those discounts and things, Like we just set this up for now. It's just for the 300 people, I guess, that were able to join fast enough.
yeah,
Before.
yeah, and as mentioned before, it's a pity that the maximum capacity was 300. I mean, we've never reached it, and I thought I had more than 500.
Yeah,
Sorry again.
no worries.
Okay, so thank you very much, Moritz, Philip, Maximilian. It was great. Um, I guess we will need to repeat this webinar because it was so successful that maybe when you have a new version or some new cool additions, we will need to do it again. Okay.
Absolutely. We're happy to, come back every month.
And to the audience, many thanks for being here, for all the questions, all the feedback. Very interesting. Again, tomorrow I will send you a link with the recorded version.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Thank you everyone who joined, and it's been a fun evening.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye, everyone.